Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Black Podcasters Association Spotlight. This is our second episode. My name's Corey Gums, and today we have our guest William Gaynor the second from the Boss Locks podcast. We're going to be basically spotlighting him today, so I guess we'll get started, right?
Let's
Long
get it
story short,
started.
so let me, you know what? Let me get started. Let me give some background. I'm still getting used to this hosting thing. Um, the Spotlight, the Black Podcast Association Spotlight, is a brief show about 15 minutes long in which we highlight different members from our group, just to give them a platform to talk, to introduce themselves to the group as well as to the world, and just tell us their story, the background, give us some background on their podcast, and also what they're doing as far as moving Black podcasters forward. So with that being said, we have Walter Gaynor the second. I have to give him a proper introduction. Um, and let's just start with the first question. Who are you and what's your podcast and what is it about?
Yeah, man. Appreciate just inviting me to the stage. Yo, what's up, everyone? You probably already see me in the group because I love commenting in. Not number one in the top 10 engagement, but I'm in there. Yeah, my name's Walt. I'm a podcast producer for Sweetfish Media, and I've been podcasting since 2016 or 2017, but actually launched my own show last year during the pandemic, and it's called Boss Locks. It's a show that started as a way to help people who are going through an issue like I was, where we're kind of curious about going into the workforce, what types of microaggressions or discrimination may we face, and ultimately, like, can I actually get ahead without cutting my locks? I mean, you can't see them right now, but I've had locks since '07, so I started my show to prove that natural hair and professionalism do coexist, and it's evolved into a show where I'm out here speaking to Black leaders to identifying the range of Blackness and hear their stories of new growth.
That's wonderful. So what exactly is the Boss Locks podcast? Like when somebody checks in and listens, what can they expect from your podcast?
Um, it's a good question. The whole show is based on the premise of telling stories. Having conversations that these people don't always get a chance to talk about. I just like to speak to people who are leaders in their organization, leading a movement, and just highlighting the work they're doing, but also give them a chance to really talk about some of the experiences they've had working while Black, and also their journey, just embracing natural hair and what how that's really transformed the way they look at themselves in the Black community. So all sorts of stories. Some of my recent ones are I featured someone who was leading a protest during the Black Lives Matter movement, and he told the story of how what happened then ended up getting him in trouble during the Capitol riots, where he wasn't involved at all, but because his name was associated with an arrest during a protest, they just said he was part of it. That got him kicked out of school. Like all sorts of stories, people who actually did experience hair discrimination and used the Crown Act to help combat it. We have stories from all over, literally all over the world.
Okay, that's interesting. I know it's a very particular niche that your podcast is a
Oh
part of.
yeah.
How do you how's the response you're getting from your listeners? Is it it's a, how has been your growth in regards to your podcast and just the acceptance of it in Black culture, because it's really uh
Mhm.
directed towards Black people, correct?
It is. And what's funny is that when I first started, part of what took me so long to launch was just I was very uncertain and unsure both myself and what I was doing. Like I knew some people experienced this, but I didn't realize just how many people experience some of the things that we're talking about on the show. Directly, indirectly. I think some people even like, listening to the show, like it just helped them see things in a different perspective. Like I had an episode with Thondo Kafele, who's a hairstylist, but he calls himself a self-esteem specialist. And he played the episode I did with him in his shop while doing someone's hair, and she just started crying because like the words that he was sharing, like she had never heard anyone really say it like that before. She just felt like such a relief, like the things that Black women and Black men experience with natural hair. It's crazy, it's crazy, and I think a lot of people feel as though they're the only ones who experience this or it's their problem. But I think the show has helped people just find community, and that's what it's all about.
Okay, that's wonderful. I mean, it's I don't have that problem. I might need to do a podcast for a receding hairline. But that's great. So like what it so I mean, you've already expressed a whole lot about your podcast and your the where you were where you started. What is your main motivation? Like what drives you to keep it going? Because I know, especially when you're very niche down, it's complicated to it can get complicated because you're looking for particular listeners, and sometimes you don't get the response that you might have expected, or you're not getting the traction that you want. So, what is your main motivation? What keeps you going in doing this podcast?
That's a good question. I think it's a couple things. One, it's the community that I have built. We don't have, well, I will say, like, I don't have like the super duper numbers that, you want to get to, but the people that I do have, we really, I think, are building like strong connections, and I love it. Like, um, so that keeps me going, just seeing them, just enjoying it. And then also just seeing what else the space creates, like outside of me and outside of my show. 'Cause my whole purpose is to create impact, and I see it happening through networking, and relationship building. But then also, it's that's a good question because, like, right now we're in this time period where we are getting seen, we are getting recognized, representation is happening, but that's like, we see it, but at the same time, there's still people who are getting like harmed and abused and just like discriminated against. I got a nephew who's going through hair discrimination at his school, and he's like, it's a good school as well. So they got to think like, man, do I cut my locks that aren't causing anyone actual problems? Just these like white people who are offended by it, or and like continue to go to this good school, or do I keep them and go to a different school? Like, these are the type of choices people have, and that's like a light case scenario. So it's like, we're seeing like the beginning of change, but
Mhm.
there's still a long ways to go. So that's what keeps me going. I would love to get to a point where my show is literally just like an archive that people go back to through history lessons and just take notes and study and stuff. But still a lot of work to do. We still got a long ways to go as a community, and as a whole global society involving all the cultures.
Right. Um, I know this is kind of sidebar from the conversation, but I think it is
Let's
important to
do it.
highlight. And we're both going to be presenting this weekend, and it's kind of a ongoing conversation in the Afros and Audio Hoover app, right? And we're going to be talking
Mhm.
about it. How has the response to your podcast been from people outside of Black culture? Are you finding any responses, or how does that go? And the reason why I ask that is because there are people in our group who may be experiencing the same thing. So just briefly, because I know we pressed for time, but just
Oh
let
yeah,
me know how
yeah.
that goes.
um, that's surprisingly, I've been getting some good responses. It's I in my own life, I have like people from all sorts of cultures in my circles and everything. But I decided, this show is it's about black people, it's for black people. If white people listen, that's cool, but that wasn't really my goal. But people are listening, they are engaging, they actually really enjoy it, and it kinda take me back a little bit, like, it almost was like, "Ah, no, really?" Like, and then, for a period of time, I caught myself because I was thinking like, "Okay, how do I create content that also, speaks to these cultures and everything like that?" But, even though, that would technically help in numbers, that's not the purpose of the show. The show is to speak to the Black audience and for everyone else to learn from the conversations we're having and the growth that we're experiencing. So it's been interesting. It's been interesting, but have gotten some good responses from people from all over.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. Because I know some people get negative responses, so that's always a plus.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So we're gonna get to some generic questions. So what does it mean for you to be a Black podcaster?
Hmm. That's a good one. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I ever really thought of myself as a black podcaster. More so, just what? Actually, all right. So it means that I get a chance to kind of highlight the things going on in my community. It's like, giving people a platform to speak. Um, Podcasting is a very powerful thing. We're all building media platforms, and there's a lot of great opportunities for ourselves, but also others as well. So, kind of giving people a space to speak and be.
Okay, that's great. Well, From your experience, what would be one good piece of advice you would give to to your fellow podcasting community, especially in our community at the Black Podcasters Association?
I'd say consistency is the biggest thing, and then also kind of knowing where you're going with your show. I think sometimes we just get into the whole thing of like continue putting out episode, but really podcasting is in a way a journey. Regardless of what type of conversation you're talking about, I think kind of making your show as like a destination or like on your way to a destination will help kind of keep people going or people keep continue to help people continue to listen to your show. You know, you continue to get the same listeners over and over and over because they're a part of something as well. So, consistently going somewhere with your show is going to make a difference.
All right, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah, it is definitely a journey, and uh, it's not just a journey for the host, but it's also a journey for the listener as well. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in the process of doing our podcast or working on our podcast, we tend to forget that part sometimes. So
Yeah.
that's some real great advice. And just I guess the last question, and then we'll get into how people can collaborate with you and follow you and stuff and reach out to you. Um, as a member of the Black Podcast Association, because you've been a very vocal part of it, you join us on our clubhouse discussions, you're active in the group. What does it mean to be a part of this group, and how have you gained from it?
Hmm. It means a lot. I mentioned I'm a producer at Sweetfish Media. It's a podcast company for B2B podcasts. And I think being in that company helped me to remember that podcasting is still a very white space. So being a part of this community actually means a lot because it's an intentional space for Black people to grow in podcasting, which means we're going to have more Black podcasters out in the world, which means that, all the opportunities that are white podcasters are be able to take advantage of, we're going to start to see that as well as we continue to grow. So no, I love this group. This is a very important group, and we got to continue to support each other. I forgot the second part of the question, but yeah, I love the
Um,
group.
well, basically, like what have you gotten or what have you gained from it on your own personal journey?
Oh, yeah, man. I love the discussion here. I love the discussion. I love seeing all the different people posting things like that. Like we had a really cool dialogue about Facebook's RSS feeds in this group. And I think, seeing how what other people were feeling about it. Some people are like, I don't trust it. Other people are like, I'm trying to, I haven't seen it just yet. So it's really cool because, we all get to grow real time together and see what's going on in each other's journey. So yeah, I'm loving it, gaining a lot of great insight and sometimes tips that I didn't know about. And I stay up on all the podcasting things. So I love it, man. I love seeing other people who are just, nerd out on podcasting just as much as I do. So yeah, I love it.
That's dope. Yeah, it is. I've learned a lot also. It's also helped me with my journey. I don't have a podcast. Well, I guess this can be considered one, but I don't have one personally, but I do work with clients and run my studio and all that stuff. So, I know it's helped me to see it from a different perspective, from
Mhm.
seeing what members are talking about and what they're going through and just all your experiences. So we definitely value that. And you've been great on a lot of the clubhouse chats. So, you know, um, that's been a big help as well. I guess so. We're gonna wrap up in a few, but just real quick, let people know how to get in touch with you, how to collaborate with you. Well, first, let's start with the collaboration. How, if somebody wanted to get you on this show or have you come on their show, how would they collaborate with you?
There's so many opportunities to collaborate. I'll say go ahead, hit me up on email, Walter at bosslocksmedia.com. But I'm in the group. You'll see me commenting. So, send me a message on Facebook Messenger. And if you don't hear back from me, just like tag me somewhere in the comments, like, yo, I messaged you. What's up? I'm always down to meet new people, collab, or just support where I can. So definitely do that. Or just, go to my site, send me a message, bosslocksmedia.com. That's BOSSLOCKS uh, media.com. Forgot to spell for a second.
Don't worry, I got LLC in my name for my company, and I'm always confusing it, so it's
Right?
cool. All right. So I guess what platforms can we find it, and typically when do you air your new episodes and stuff like that?
Coming back from a break actually. So typically Mondays or Tuesdays, but I'm starting to release a couple different types of episodes throughout the week. So you definitely be hearing me um, as we get the schedule down. But in addition to being in this group, I have a group called Working While Black. That's where I spend most of my time, most of my engagement. Second platform is Instagram, and you could just text me, catch me tweeting just some random stuff on Twitter too at It's the Great Walt. So yeah, you catch me all over. Boss Locks on Instagram, BossLocks, and Twitter, It's the Great Walt. So yeah.
All right, so I have your company stuff on here, but
Catch me on there too. Catch me on there too. I'm trying to be more active there. So go ahead, hit me up.
I didn't
Boss
want to
Locks
get too
Media.
crazy and do all the banners with all your stuff, but
I feel you.
I'm
Yeah, I
looking
got
forward
too
to the
many,
business
too
stuff.
many links. Too many
All right.
links.
So is it working with Wild Black or is it Boss Lots working with Wild Black? So I want to make sure people get that.
Good point. Good point. It is technically Boss Locks Working While Black.
Mhm.
I just put that in there to make it easier to search. There's a few other Working While Black groups. I don't know how active they are, but just look for the one with Boss Locks at the beginning.
Yeah, let me update that real quick. But
Yeah.
what about your YouTube? You also have YouTube, right?
I'm on YouTube as well. I like to be anywhere where someone may listen. People kind of sleep on YouTube a bit, but there are people who will not listen to a podcast, but they'll be there on YouTube, ready to go, commenting away. So Boss Locks Media. Yep. Just right there. Boss Locks Media
All right.
on YouTube.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us on the show. Just so you guys know, we definitely have open slots available. You can come on the spotlight as long as you're a member of the Black Podcast Association. It's free. We meet every Tuesday at 12 p.m. and every Friday at 8 p.m. Each week, we're going to have different members from the members coming in from the group, coming on the spotlight, talking about their unique journey here and talk about their podcast. Walter, it was great having you on the show. Really appreciate you, brother. I look forward to seeing your panel this weekend at Afros and Audio.
Yes.
Good luck with that. And if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter so you can stay up to date on all the events and stuff that we have coming up. We typically send it out once a month with all the scheduled Clubhouse chats. Now we're going to add the spotlight to it, as well as our meetup and networking events. And you can also join our meetup at the Black Podcasters Association to just stay up on any upcoming events that we have coming down the pipe. So again, Walter, thank you for your time. Look forward to seeing you more comments in the group and stuff. And hopefully we can do something else for the group as well. Maybe a different conversation with a little bit more time so we can learn more about you. All right, brother?
Always down. Appreciate you creating the space, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.